Hello everyone, Esper here. Alright, so I have a pet peeve, not a pet peeve, very annoying thing that I noticed a lot. Which is basically teams who are already formed, already already have their members, and don't know what the fuck they're doing, what their game plan is. I've had to have that conversation a lot in my teams, and that shouldn't be the case. Teams, when they're formed, should already know what their win condition, what their game plan is, and shouldn't even have to have this conversation. It should, and if they do have this conversation, it's day one. So, let's go with the normal sort of like what kind of happens. This is our main character, Slosher guy. They're like, hey, I want a team. They're a free agent. They're kind of annoyed that they haven't gotten picked yet. So they're like, okay, I want a team. So, or better yet, they're like, you know what? I've hopped on other teams. I want to have my own. So make a team. Let's say they find this guy. Find this guy. Pop him on the team. That's cool. They find a pen. They're like, oh yeah, you gotta get. You know what? Let's change things up a little bit. Let's say they get an edit. Let's say this guy likes something edit with edit a bit more. That's cool. That's awesome. That's fine. And then they find, they get a Stamper, because Stamper's good. And this is their team. That's cool. That's awesome. That's neat. That's whatever. But very important thing. So this guy picked this guy because they like to cut their jib. They think they're cool. They picked this guy because they need it cooler, and this guy was the best cooler in the tryouts. And they like this guy because they get a shit ton of kills. So they go out, they try to play. I'm kind of just putting people wherever. I guess you're here. You're here. I guess you're here. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Exact positions don't matter. Main thing is, this team tries to play. How the fuck do they? And they kind of just, you know what? No, they kind of just throw themselves at the enemy. And for the enemy, I'm saying they are, I don't know, fucking these dudes. They throw themselves at the enemy and kind of just see what happens. And you know what? That shouldn't fucking happen. You should not be throwing yourself at the enemy for a variety of reasons. But the main thing here, the main reason why, is because you should already know how you're supposed to play. You should already be trying to... The Slosher player here, our main character, the team captain, should already know what kind of team they want. So, let's go back to the beginning. Or let's say that team fails horribly and they're like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. And they disband after like Looty week 1. So, this guy goes back to the drawing board, and they're like, okay, I see the error of my ways. I'm not going to pick people just because they're good or just because I like them. Although those are very good reasons to pick people. You should pick people for those reasons, but you also need to be a bit more tactful than that. There are some steps before. And what are those steps? Well, you got to figure out what is your game plan? What is your win condition? That should already be figured out before you make a team. I don't want to have any more of these conversations where I sit teams down and be like, okay, when you made your team, what was your win plan? How does this comp work? And they kind of just, they give you an answer, but you can kind of tell it's made up on the fly. So, and it's kind of a guess. So, Slosher here. They look around. They look around to see what's going on, and they notice some things, and also kind of just jostle their memory. They notice, hey, I don't like fighting against Charger. It is very oppressive. And Charger is, or specifically E-Leader, is very mean. It has a lot of pressure. I don't think it can reach. I think it can reach about like here, about there, then about here, I want to say. Definitely up to here. Anyways, that's a pretty good amount of space. And the Slosher's like, you know what? But I like having Charger when it's on my team. They notice that they like are able to play with the space the Charger gets very well, and they're like, okay, let's think about that. What about Charger makes it so good? It is the pressure. Okay, so now you have a win condition, which, well, no, you do need don't. You're getting there. So now you're like, okay. But what you kind of want to do once you have like a weapon that you like, your main guy, your big boy, is okay. What can bring this guy down? And what can bring them down is cover. Charger, as cool as it is, cool and also an amazing weapon as it is, has no indirect fire capabilities. Also, pet peeve, please stop saying AoE when you actually mean indirect fire. I'll not comment too much on it, but when people say AoE, they usually mean indirect fire. You don't give a shit if your blast does not hit people behind cover. I mean, you give a little bit of a shit, but honestly, put it like this. If your blaster hitbox disappeared the moment you could not physically see it, like you couldn't shoot people behind cover, it would not be as good. Same thing with Slosher. Imagine a Slosher where the ink disappeared and fizzled out, evaporated, the moment it went behind a wall. It would be pretty mid. Anyways, so the Slosher could go up here, be like, hey, I can solve this problem. The leader makes space for me, and I can really easily flush these spaces out. I can slosh up here. I could slosh up here, but it's not a great space to stay here. But leader could deal with that a little bit. The main thing is that I'm able to deal with the weakness of leader. So now we have something pretty interesting. Now you kind of have, you have something cool. Actually, I want to put them back. Yep. So now you kind of got to think, okay. What else do we got? What else do we need? We kind of have our loose win condition. Well, no, we have our win condition. It's just not very good right now. You need a bit more. You have the idea, the main idea, which is leader looks in the area, they take cover, and then you punish them for taking cover. That actually is a win condition. That is like an actual like thing you can do. So, how do you support this thing? Well, let's say, for example, you gotta ask, okay, how could the enemy take this out, or what do you need to do to get into the spot? Well, first thing, paint check. Every comp needs a paint check. Or not paint check, but you gotta have a paint check. One painter is this guy, and I'm just gonna slap it in because I feel like it, and people like to have coolers and whatever. Although that isn't really a great mindset to have. You shouldn't slap on any weapon just because people like it. But I'm gonna, because whatever. I guess I'm a bad teacher. Anyways, so you have this guy. They'll do their job. They'll paint around, and they're not a bad fighter. They're not as good as some others, but they're not bad. They can fight, I guess. But more importantly, very important thing, is that they have a bomb. They got a suction bomb. So, the other thing you also got to think about is redundancy. This is really important. You need to build redundancy into your comp. The bad thing, though, is that when you don't do that, which this comp... Okay, I'll explain what happens when you don't do it, but if you do have it, you will get into situations where your Slosher here fucking dies. Which means, now, like, let's say you had, like, I don't know, let's do something stupid, like, I don't know, 2 pros. You have 2 pros. They can't really do the job of the Slosher, and when the Slosher fucking dies, what else do? I don't know, you kind of just get fucked. So what this guy can do is they can help, even if the slosher isn't dead. That's, let's say the E leader is also getting trouble from here. Well, Mr. Zap Dude can throw a bomb here, and how about the leader? Or maybe like there's a guy hiding on the other side of this, and the slosher already needs to slosh these areas. So Zap Dude can throw a bomb here, and how about the leader? And they either have to leave, which then they die to the slosher. Like they either have to go in this direction, and possibly die to the slosher, or go in this direction, and definitely die to the E leader, assuming the E leader can hit their shots. So, what you should be, if you're playing an E leader team, you should be playing as if the leader is hitting your shots. Because reasons. But anyways. The other thing as well. So, to keep up with the idea of redundancy, you could add. You probably want to have another weapon that has a bomb. I'm just gonna put this thing down, which also is a not a bad idea, but actually no, better idea. Because the slosher is also providing killing power. This is also a bit more redundancy. So if the slosher dies, you lose not only indirect fire but killing power. So then this guy can come in and still provide some killing power. My throat's dry. Anyways. So, but if the slosher dies as well, then you also got more bombs. Yeah, you got more bombs. So you can also spam this thing here. And with that done, with that taken care of, this stuff happened, you can still push up. What happens if you don't have redundancy is actually can be very demonstrated very well by this comp. What happens if the leader fucking dies? What happens is you stall and you wait and you give the enemy time to build special and set up like their flanks or set up their whatever the fuck they want. I got water, thank you. Water. Okay. Which means, in short, very bad. Ideally, you do not want to have redundancy. Or no. You do want to have redundancy. This is one of the areas where a leader comp kind of fails. Or really, any charger comp. Because if your charger dies, you're kind of fucked. Because the charger is usually the defining thing of your comp. It's usually what your comp is built around. And if the thing your comp is built around dies, then you kind of just gotta either wait or you're playing without like your win condition. This can change though if you have a secondary win condition. Sometimes comps can have multiple. Another example, this one. I kind of just slapped this one together. You could swap some stuff around, but the main thing is leader does leader things. Zap paints. This guy paints and fights. This guy kills. The main thing is, let's say E leader fucking dies, and now you're kind of getting rolled over by funny guys. I'm kind of coming over here, coming around here, coming over here, and coming over here, and they're kind of just not really respecting you too much. Actually, no. Let's be a little bit more realistic. Let's say this guy comes here, and where is it? This one. This guy is zuking, and is making people scatter. Here. Let's say I don't know, back off. Kind of holding people back. So leader's dead. Normally in a normal comp, where you have one win condition or one like win con, you're kind of just have to either hold or like fall back. Usually just fall back and wait. But in a situation like this, you also got this Carbon here, who's another really good win con of fucking killing people. So you go here, push back. Maybe you drop and jump out. Push out here. You fall back here. You fall back here. You go here, and then carbon. Pop, pop, pop. And they are all dead because the carbon is really cool, and I like playing with carbon. So, the carbon is another win con of just paint the floor, and I have a really good shot at killing people. I know it's not the most meta thing right now, but carbon has always had that sort of aspect about it. Main thing though, is that is another way of reducing redundancy, or adding redundancy to your comp. Of if our main moneymaker dies, we have another way of getting that money, which also actually makes you don't even have to get the value of redundancy from having your main like E leader do die. You can also get that value if you're going against a comp that like just fucking counters whatever. Like let's say the E leader is not dead, they're just inoperable from the Zuka. Well, you still got the fucking carbon who has like a good amount of paint, because this is a pretty good. These are two pretty good painters. And the E leader pressure makes the enemy's paint worse. And the E leader doesn't paint, but it makes the enemy paint worse because it cuts off how much access they have to paint or to turf. Which means that this guy kind of has more space to roam around, which lets them kind of do things. And I just really like fucking E leader and carbon. It's very fun, and I think they synergize pretty well with each other. Anyways. With the main point is that, alright, when you're building your comp, you want to make sure that, or rather when you're building a team, you want to make sure before you actually like send out the like the team posts, before you get people on board, you want to make sure you know what actually you want for a team. And even more than just like, hey, I like playing with X. You gotta know why, like how does it work? Not why, how things work. And you gotta be the one to tell your team like your vision as the captain. And what else? It is good to build redundancy, but if you cannot build redundancy, don't sweat it. But if you can build redundancy in a comp, that is very good. I think redundancy is also something that should be talked about a lot more. It's kind of hard to have redundancy because there's only 4 dudes, but you can have it. That's pretty neat. But anyways, that's everything. I'll see y'all later.